If you are considering making an exciting journey from North America to South America or vice versa by car, you will soon discover that there is something mysterious and intriguing going on in the middle of these two giant continents. In this video we will talk about and uncover the truth about the world's longest highway, which is filled with dangers from smugglers, mysterious Indian tribes, venomous snakes, and so on. The idea of constructing a road connecting North America to South America first arose during the 19th century at the first Pan-American Conference, initially as a plan for railway tracks. Despite the discussions, it wasn't until 1923 that the proposal for a Pan-American highway was revived, and 2 years later, put into action. The result was a road network that was officially recognized by Guinness World Records as the longest highway on the planet. When considering the entire length of the Pan-American Highway and its various branches, the most conservative estimates place it at a staggering 48,000 kilometers, surpassing even the circumference of the equator. However, if you plan to traverse the highway from its northernmost to southernmost point along the shortest route, the distance you will need to cover is just 23,000 kilometers. According to the Guinness World Records, the length of the Pan-American Highway is recorded as 24,140 kilometers, calculated based on a different route and ending in the Brazilian capital of Brasilia. Regardless of the figures, it remains the world's longest highway. The highway starts in the cold and rugged terrain of Alaska, specifically in the small village of Pond Bay, home to just 2,000 residents, and located near the oil and gas fields of the same name, and it concludes at the southernmost city of Ushuaia, Argentina. It's truly incredible, and a journey along the Pan-American Highway offers a chance to cross more than a dozen countries, experience all of climates and ecological regions possible, and visit nearly all South American capitals. With an exception of Belize and Tegucigalpa, the highway passes all of them. However, there is a catch. Starting your trip in Alaska and reaching Argentina solely by car is unfortunately not possible, and there is an interesting reason for it. One of the most amazing and intriguing sections of the Pan-American Highway is the Darien Gap, a 160 km by 50 km area of dense, impenetrable jungle that divides the world's longest highway into two segments, with an 87 km stretch located in the territories of Panama and Colombia. Unfortunately, traversing the Darien Gap with a conventional car is not feasible, and even off-road vehicles will find it to be a challenging route. While walking may seem simple, traversing the Darien Gap is anything but a walk in the park. The dense jungle presents a formidable challenge to even the most experienced of travelers. The journey through the gap typically takes between 10 to 15 days, depending on the route and individual characteristics of the travelers. Without proper training, expertise, and familiarity with the area, attempting to cross the Darien Gap can be extremely treacherous and sometimes even fatal. The idea of paving a road through this gap has been proposed several times, but its implementation remains a significant challenge. The dense jungle and swampy terrain make road construction extremely difficult, if not impossible. Back in the 1970s, the United States sponsored the development of a project, but environmentalists strongly opposed it, alleging that constructing the highway would cause irreparable damage to the environment. In the early 1990s, the discussion was revisited, but again without success. The United Nations spoke out strongly against the project, citing concerns about the potential harm to the environment, as two national parks within the gap are included on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Now there are additional opponents to the road construction proposal, including local indigenous tribes who do not wish to be disturbed and are concerned about the preservation of their unique cultural heritage. Another issue related to the construction of the road is the exacerbation of drug trafficking from Colombia. Currently, those unable to traverse the Darien Gap on foot rely on ferries to transport their vehicles. These ships, which sail between Panama City and various Colombian ports such as Buenaventura and Cartagena, are the only means of continuing along the southern stretch of the Pan-American Highway. If you look at it from a wider scope, it's very strange. The continents are connected by the Isthmus of Panama, but nature itself seems to have erected an almost impenetrable barrier in the form of the Darien Gap, forcing the use of water transportation. The Darien Gap is not only a challenging region, but also the habitat of two indigenous tribes, the Kuna and the Embera-Wonan, who have strong ties to their ancestral traditions. For instance, the Embera-Wonan still carry out the traditions of their forebears, such as women walking topless with intricate tattoos on their backs. They have survived the adverse conditions of the Darien Gap by passing down their knowledge of animals, plants, and waterways from generation to generation. Similarly, the Kuna people are committed to preserving their traditional way of life as well. They impose strict restrictions on marriages with outsiders, and this has resulted in the highest percentage of albinos in the world among the Kuna community. The Kuna practice matriarchy, where women have the authority to choose their own husbands, and the men become the part of the woman's family after the wedding ceremony, not the other way around, just like in the rest of the world. The Darien Gap, a treacherous and challenging terrain, has always lured adventure seekers who aren't intimidated by danger. In the early days, several attempts were made to drive through the gap, but all of them ended in failure. However, in the latter half of the 20th century, the Trans-Darien Expedition was launched with a goal to reach Bogota, the capital of Colombia, to attend the Pan-American Highway Congress. Two specially equipped off-road vehicles, a Jeep J5 and a Land Rover Defender, were assigned for the expedition. The team consisted of 8 people tasked with building crossings and clearing a path through the lush vegetation. The journey through the Darien Gap took 4 months and 20 days and was filled with numerous obstacles and difficulties. The team encountered steep hills, dense jungles, and had to cross multiple rivers and streams. It was clear that without the help of additional participants, the expedition would not have succeeded. As the team crossed over rivers and streams, they often utilized palm trucks for makeshift bridges, contending with their strong curvature. They faced 125 challenges in building these temporary bridges, all while enduring the harsh climate of the tropical jungle during the dry season. The team also had to be vigilant of the numerous poisonous insects and venomous snakes that called the Darien Gap their home. Despite these obstacles, the journey was successful, and thankfully, none of the team members suffered any serious injuries. This feat further reinforced the idea that traveling from North America to South America or vice versa by a car is not an easy task, and is not for everyone whatsoever. The remote and challenging terrain of the Darien Gap has attracted a number of individuals with nefarious motives, including illegal immigrants who are seeking a path to reach Panama and continue their journey to more developed nations such as the United States. Unfortunately, the area is also a hub for smugglers and the notorious Colombian rebel group, the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. These groups have established a strong presence in the region, putting the lives of migrants, including those from Haiti, Cuba, Cameroon, Congo, and people from many other poor countries at risk as they navigate through the treacherous terrain. The UNICEF Children's Fund reported a statistic in the spring of 2021. There has been a huge increase in the number of children among illegal immigrants who crossed the Darien Gap. In 2017, only 2% of these migrants were children, but by 2020, that number had risen to 25%. It's widely acknowledged that the Darien Gap is no place even for adults, let alone children. In the 21st century, when there are few truly wild places left on our planet, the Darien Gap remains one of them. The region is protected by environmental defenders and is home to indigenous tribes, so it is unlikely that a road will be built through the Darien Gap anytime soon. What do you think about this place and the idea to build a highway through it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. This episode is brought to you with the help of these Patreon supporters. If you want to support this channel, head over to Patreon, and thanks to everyone who's supporting. Thanks for watching. More interesting videos are coming up. Please subscribe and hit the like button.